Alright guys, today's lesson is going to be on how to compare and order fractions. So basically, how do we take two fractions and compare them to see which one is bigger and which one is smaller. So here we have 5/8 and 3/8, and we want to see which fraction is bigger and which fraction is smaller. Okay, when you have the denominators that are the same, these denominators are both 8, so there's an equal number of parts. So all you need to do is look at the numerator, and we'll look at the numerator for both fractions, and it will tell us which fraction is bigger. So 8 is the same, so now we look at the numerator. 5 is bigger than 3, so our bigger fraction is 5/8. So 5/8 is bigger than 3/8. Okay, so now let's look at another fraction when we have the same number of parts at the top, but our denominator is different. So here we have 2/4 and we have 2/6. Okay, our denominators are different, 4 and 6, so we can't use those. We don't have the same number of pieces in our pie. But if we look at the top, I'm getting 2 pieces of each pie. So this pie is cut into 4ths, and I'm getting 2, and this pie is cut into 6, and I'm getting 2. So if I have a pie cut into 4 pieces and a pie cut into 6 pieces and I get 2, which pie is bigger? Which pieces are going to be bigger? And we know that the less number of pieces, the bigger I'm going to get my slice. So 2/4 is bigger than 2/6. This pie right here is cut into 6 pieces. Here we go, 6 pieces. And if I get 2 of them, I'm getting that much. This one is cut into only 4 pieces. So look at that. The pieces are bigger. If I get 2 of them, I'm getting a whole half of the pizza. So this one is definitely bigger. My slices are bigger than over here. So 2/4 is bigger than 2/6. Okay, so now we have compared where we have the same denominators. Okay, so the parts are equal. We have 8 parts, and I'm going to get either 5 of them or 3 of them, and 5 is better. And then here we have the same pieces. So I'm going to get 2 here and 2 here, but this one's only 4 and this one's 6, so this one's a bigger piece. Okay, so now that we have figured out how to do it when we have the same numerator or the same denominator, what about when we have different fractions? So let's look and see how that's going to look. All right. So when our fractions are different, this is where our knowing the greatest common factor or the least common multiple work comes into play. So when the fractions are different, we have to compare them a different way. So let's say we have 7/8, and we're trying to compare that to 2/6. Okay, so now here we have different numerators and we have different denominators. So we cannot compare these to each other. But what we can do is a couple of different things. They give us a couple of tricks that we can use. So the first trick is to see which one of these fractions is closer to 1/2. And that can kind of help us. So I know if I have half a pie, That's pretty good. I'm getting a nice half a pie, and I'm going to be nice and full. So we can compare our other fractions with smaller parts to 1/2 and see if they are bigger than 1/2 or smaller than 1/2, and that'll give us an idea of which fraction is bigger. Okay, if I have 8 pieces in my pie, half of those pieces would be 4. So 7/8 is bigger. If I have 6 pieces in my pie, half of that pie would be 3 pieces. So 2/6 is smaller than half. So 7/8 is bigger than half the pie, because half the pie would have been 4, so 7/8 is bigger. 2/6 is smaller than half the pie, because half the pie would have been 3/6, so we have less than that. So since 7/8 is bigger, 7/8 is going to be my bigger fraction. It's bigger than 2/6. So I come back up here to my original problem, and I know that 7/8 is bigger than 2/6. Okay, what's another way to do this? Well, here's another way. Same problem. 7/8 is bigger or smaller than 2/6. Okay, another way we can look at this is to see which fraction is closer to a whole. Okay, now if I have 7/8 here, oops, hold on, gotta get my pen. So if I have 7/8 and I know a whole pie is how much? 8/8. So a whole pie is 8/8, and I have 7/8. So I'm pretty close to a whole pie. Here I have 2/6. How much is a whole pie? 6/6 is a whole pie. So here I'm not even close to a whole pie. So since 7/8 is closer to a whole pie, then, oops, sorry, let me erase that. I did not want to put that. Since 7/8 is closer to a whole pie, then that means that 7/8 is bigger than 2/6. So first, we showed you here, see my little finger? There we go, let's go up. So we showed you here that 7/8 was bigger than 2/6 because 7/8 is greater than 1/2. 2/6 is less than 1/2. So 7/8 was the bigger fraction. Here we're going to show you the same thing. 7/8 is bigger than 2/6 because 7/8 is closer to a whole, which is closer to 8/8. So 7/8 is bigger. Now, what if you have no idea, you just can't tell if the fraction is bigger or smaller than a half or a whole, and you need to compare them by renaming them? When we made fractions bigger or smaller, that is called renaming. We make a different fraction. So we can rename fractions as well. So we're going to start over here to kind of get an idea of if one fraction is bigger or smaller than another fraction. So if we have 3/4 and 7/8, okay, and it's kind of easy looking at these to tell, but 3/4 is pretty close to a whole. It's really close to 4/4. So 3/4 right here is pretty close to 4/4, so that's pretty close to a whole. 7/8 is also pretty close to a whole. It's close to 8/8. So we can't tell which one of these fractions might be bigger. So we can rename the fractions. Get a different color here. We rename fractions by taking the denominator of the fractions and making them the same. We do that by finding the least common multiple for the denominator. So the least common multiple that 4 and 8 have in common is 8. 4 can go into 8 and 8 can go into 8. So 8 is our least common denominator. Now, how are we going to fix these fractions to make them have a denominator of 8? Okay, remember this. Let me erase that out of the way. Okay, and I'll put it up here so that it's kind of out of our way. So, remember this kind of problem? We need to figure out what our numerator is. We know our denominator is going to be 8 for both fractions, but what is our numerator going to be up here? Well, let's find out. What are we multiplying 4 by to get 8? 4 times 2 is 8. So we have to do the same thing that we do on the bottom to the top. If 4 times 2 is 8, 3 times 2 is 6. So our new fraction is 6/8. Now we can look and compare these two fractions. Okay? 6/8 compared to 7/8. And we can automatically tell, just by looking at it, that 7/8 is bigger. So now we know that our original problem, 3/4 and 7/8, 7/8 is bigger. So that is a way that we can find out which fraction is bigger and which fraction is smaller by renaming them using the least common multiple. Okay, let's do some practice and we will go over this in class tomorrow.